Hello, everyone. My name is Ashley Sams, and today I'll be speaking on a subject that shapes our lives on a daily basis more than we often recognize, and that is the power of social media influencers as leaders in modern day society. In a world where millions of people scroll, like, and share content every day, influencers are no longer just content creators. Many of them have become role models, brand builders, and even agents of social change. One of the clearest examples of this modern form of leadership is Jimmy Donaldson, better known as Mr. Beast. He has over 500 million followers across all platforms. He's not just entertaining audiences with viral stunts, he's raising millions of dollars for charities, he's planting trees and building food banks, and just reshaping what it means to lead in the digital age. So in this presentation, I'm going to explore how different influencers like Mr. Beast and Charli D'Amelio use their platforms to lead and impact communities and influence culture, often more directly and effectively than traditional public figures that we've been used to seeing in the past 10 to 15 years. Before we go any further, it's important to define exactly what we mean by social media influencers. Influencers matter because they have built loyal audiences who trust their opinions, their content, and their brand, whether it's through TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, or other platforms. They have the ability to reach millions of people instantly, which is oftentimes more of an impact than traditional ads or public figures. In today's digital world, influencers are modern day leaders. They shape public opinion, spark trends, and influence behavior from the way people dress to what they eat and even how they think about social issues. As we just saw with Mr. Beast and Charli D'Amelio, these aren't just internet personalities, they're thought leaders and even in some cases brand powerhouses. For this slide, I chose a picture of Charli D'Amelio and her campaign with Dunkin' Donuts. Alone, it boosted cold brew sales for the company by 20%. This is just people following her influence, wanting to try what she tries, and it obviously paid off huge for the company that decided to work with her. Leadership no longer looks like someone in a suit behind a podium. Instead, leadership is about influence, connection, and visibility, especially online. Today, leadership is about influence, not just traditional authority. Someone doesn't need to be a CEO or a politician to lead. If they can inspire action, change opinions, or start a movement online, that's leadership. Social media platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok have created new spaces for leadership. Influencers use these platforms to build trust and spread messages instantly. Unlike traditional leaders, influencers feel relatable and accessible. Their power comes from being real with their audience and showing their personality, struggles, and lives behind the scenes. Today's leaders are judged by how well they engage their audience, how authentic they are, and how visible they are online. That's why someone like Mr. Beast and Charli D'Amelio can have more public trust than many celebrities or politicians. What is a social media influencer? To understand the power and leadership of influencers, we first need to define who they are and how they are categorized. Social media influencers are a subset of digital content creators, and as media scholar Brooke Aaron Duffy in 2020 explains, they're defined by their large online following, a recognizable personal brand, and their ability to form ongoing strategic relationships with commercial sponsors. On the spheres of influence, you have your mega influencers who have usually around a million, actually quite a bit more, usually in like 20 to 40, even 100 million followers on all social media platforms. They're mega. At your macro level, you're going to have about 500,000 to a million followers. Your mid-tier levels of influence are going to have about 50,000 to 500,000. That one, there's kind of a big realm in between mid-tier influencers. Micro influencers have only about 10,000 to 50,000 followers. And then your nano influencers have very few, not very few to a bunch of people, but only about 1,000 to 10,000 followers. Um, Macro influencers have a wider reach and they can impact mass audiences. On the other hand, your micro influencers might have smaller followings, but they have higher engagement and stronger trust within their niche community. According to Abaddon in 2016, micro influencers often feel more authentic because they maintain a sense of intimacy with their followers. And last, the platforms that are being used primarily are going to be YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, X, or what used to be Twitter is kind of moving its way out. Not as many people are using that. So these are going to be the main four that you'll see these huge influencers posting on and being very active on a daily basis. Leadership is about influence. Social media influencers are completely redesigning what this looks like. Many influencers have a clear vision for their brand or their platform, whether it's promoting sustainability, fitness, fashion, or social causes. Their voice becomes a key part of their identity and it sets the tone for how they communicate with their audience. Studies that we looked like before with Aberdeen in 2016 emphasized that influencers build their trust through authenticity. Audiences respond to creators who are honest, vulnerable, and real, people who share both their successes and their failures or struggles. That authenticity is what makes them inspirational to their followers. Unlike traditional leaders, influencers are constantly engaging with their audience, responding to comments, creating interactive content, and adjusting in real time. This continuous interaction gives them the power to influence behavior. So, influence versus authority and leadership. Influence is earned through trust, relatability, and personal branding. Followers choose to listen. There is no obligation. It is driven by charisma, consistency, and what psychologist Robert Cialdini calls social proof, meaning people are more likely to follow someone they see others trusting, engaging with. Influencers often persuade emotionally, changing minds and behavior by forming a real connection. Authority, on the other hand, comes from a title or a position. It is institutional, like a manager or government official, and it commands respect through structure, rules, or consequences. People in an authoritative dynamic follow because they are supposed to, not necessarily because they feel inspired. So while authority enforces behavior, influence is going to be what inspires it. And that's what makes social media influencers such powerful leaders in today's digital world. I think you can tell from previous slides, but I chose Mr. Beast, also known as Jimmy Donaldson, and Charli D'Amelio. These are not my two favorite influencers out there at this moment, but they're two very good examples of people that have completely changed the digital world and are huge leaders for many generations. Mr. Beast specifically because he blends transformational and transactional leadership. He's known for his big vision and ambitious large-scale projects like planting 20 million trees or cleaning the ocean. His initiatives like Team Trees, Team Seas, and Beast Philanthropy. He motivates his team through clear rewards and high expectations, which fits Burns' 1978 definition of transformational leaders, inspiring change while also using structure and incentives to drive performance. So on the other hand, we have Charli D'Amelio, and her influence is rooted in authenticity and relatability. Her leadership comes from being completely genuine, open about her mental health, her body image, and the pressures of fame. She partnered with organizations like the National Eating Disorders Association and the JED Foundation, and she's using her platform to raise awareness and promote mental health and wellness. Together, these two show that leadership on social media isn't one size fits all. It depends on how trust is built and is used to mobilize action. Research shows that extroverts are actually slightly more likely to share content. They're outgoing, they're sociable, so they tend to act as spreaders in online networks. Agreeable and conscientious individuals, on the other hand, often hold back from sharing. This could be due to desire to maintain social harmony or a cautious, responsible approach to online behavior. Neuroticism is linked to slightly lower levels of sharing, likely due to emotional insecurity or concern over how others will respond. These individuals might be more sensitive to judgment or rejection. Openness to experience, which we might expect to drive more sharing, actually didn't show a clear effect. This suggests that being curious or creative doesn't necessarily lead to more public expression online. Personality can shape online behavior. This is important to understand when analyzing influencer audiences or how content spreads. So understanding social media influence and leadership styles, this matters because it has real business value, especially in management. First, it helps brands choose effective influencer partners. By analyzing personality traits and leadership style, managers can align campaigns with influencers who truly fit their brand voice and audience. This also supports leadership development for influencers themselves. As influencers grow into their leadership roles, understanding their own style, whether it's charismatic, transactional, or advocacy based, this can lead them to more intentional and ethically bound work. Also, knowing the psychology behind social media behavior enables personality-aligned content strategies, which improves engagement and audience trust. This knowledge overall helps reduce risk in digital reputation management. When you understand how influence works, you can better anticipate audience reaction and respond proactively to these crises. Blending psychology, leadership theory, and social media strategy gives managers a smarter, more adaptive edge in today's digital environment. So that caps off my final video project presentation on social media influencers as leaders in modern day society. The better we understand social media influence, the better we can lead, connect, and create an impact on today's society, today's generations, and future generations to come. I just want to thank you for a great class. And I'm going to share with you really quick my reference list and final works cited. But again, thank you for paying attention and listening to my project. I really enjoyed this, and yeah, thank you.